This is the moment I realized I'd been robbed. Not broken into, not hacked. Robbed slowly, quietly, and completely legally, for years, by companies I pay every single month. And the worst part? I handed it over. Willingly. Every single penny. Let me take you back a few hours, to before I knew any of that, because I need you to understand something about me first. I am good with money. That's not bragging, it's just true. Or it was, an hour ago. I check my balance. I don't do daft impulse buys. When people moan about wasting money without realizing, I would nod along, quietly certain they were talking about someone else. Someone careless, not me. So one evening I decided to prove it. Properly. I pulled up 3 months of my own bank statements, top to bottom, and I went through every single line. Every direct debit, every subscription, every fee I'd paid 100 times and never once read. I genuinely expected to close the laptop after 10 minutes, lean back and feel smug. A clean sheet, case closed, the sensible one, vindicated. That is not what happened. What happened is that line by line, my own bank statement slowly, patiently, built a case against me. And by the time I reached the bottom of the 3rd month, I'd found money draining out of my account through gaps I didn't know existed. And when I finally added it all up, the number was big enough that I sat there and checked it twice, hoping I'd made a mistake. I hadn't. So tonight, I'm walking you through the whole investigation, every clue, in the order I found it. And I'll warn you now, somewhere around the halfway mark, you're going to quietly pick up your own phone. This is the secret economics of everyday things. I started where anyone would. Subscriptions, the obvious suspects. And I hit a wall on the very first one, because I couldn't tell what it was. Because they don't appear on your statement wearing a name badge. They don't say, the film app you forgot about. They show up as a string of capital letters, or the name of some payment company you've genuinely never heard of, sitting in front of a charge you've apparently agreed to pay forever. Sit with how strange that is. My first discovery wasn't even a wasteful charge. It was the realization that money was leaving my account under a name I could not identify. I was paying a stranger every month, and I'd have to do detective work to even find out who. So I did. I cross-checked the odd names against the dates, the amounts, the emails buried in my inbox. And one by one, the suspects revealed themselves. A streaming service I'd watched exactly twice this year, both times the same film. A music app I was paying for twice because I'd signed up once on my phone and once on my laptop and never noticed. A cloud storage plan for photos I couldn't describe to you if my life depended on it. They've got a name, these ones. Zombie subscriptions. Alive on your statement, dead in your actual life. Still charging, never used. And before you think this is just me being hopeless, in the UK, the average person burns around £168 a year on subscriptions they never touch. A few years ago, that number was about 60. It has nearly tripled. We are, collectively, getting worse at this, not better. But here's the thing about the zombies. Annoying as they were, at least I could see them once I looked. They were hiding in plain sight. The next thing I found wasn't hiding at all. It was standing in the open, disguised as something I thought I had to pay. These were the charges buried inside bills I'd always treated as fixed. The ones that feel like part of the price. The ones you never question because they arrived looking official. My broadband was the first to fall. I was paying a monthly rental fee. For the router. A little box that sits on my shelf gathering dust, and I was renting it, indefinitely, on top of the price I thought I'd signed up for. The number in the advert and the number leaving my account had never once been the same number. And I'd never noticed because the gap was small enough to ignore and permanent enough to feel normal. Then came the drip price charges. You know these, even if you've never named them. You book something for one price, a ticket, a hotel, a flight. And as you move toward the checkout, the number quietly grows. A booking fee, a service fee, a processing fee. By the final screen, the price you're actually paying has crept well past the price that lured you in. And here's the detail that turned my irritation into something colder. Not one of these was a mistake. Nobody fat-fingered a number. Nobody overcharged me by accident. Every fee was precisely, deliberately engineered. Designed to sit just below the threshold where I'd stop and challenge it. Designed around my inattention. They weren't errors in the system. My inattention was the system. Regulators have finally noticed, to be fair. There are new rules coming to force all-in pricing, to make the first number the real number. But that tells you how bad it got, that it took a law. And right now, today, it's still sitting in most of our bills, doing its quiet work. So that was the careless money, and the disguised money. 2 categories down, and the total was already higher than I wanted to admit. And then I found the third thing. And the third thing didn't just cost me money, it insulted me. I'd been with the same insurance company for years, same broadband provider too, and I'd always told myself that was the smart, grown-up thing to do. Stay put, be loyal. Don't cause a fuss. Loyalty gets rewarded. That's what we're all taught, isn't it? So I did the thing I should have done years ago. I looked up what a brand new customer would pay, that same day, for the exact same insurance policy I already had. It was cheaper, noticeably cheaper, for the identical policy. The only difference between me and the person getting the better price was that I'd been loyal and they hadn't. This has a name, and once you learn it, you see it everywhere. The loyalty penalty. Insurance, broadband, energy, a whole set of industries quietly run on it. The new customer gets the shiny, cheap deal to reel them in. And the loyal customer, the faithful one who never switches, never haggles, never pays attention, they get their price nudged up a little more every year. Not despite their loyalty, because of it. And that's the one that genuinely got under my skin. Because I hadn't been careless with this one. I'd done what I thought was right. I'd been loyal. And loyalty, it turns out, was the exact behavior they'd priced me for. The reward for never causing trouble was a bill that quietly grew every single year, betting on the fact that I'd never look. And if you're sitting there right now with a slow, sinking feeling that you should probably check your own statements the second this video ends, good. That feeling is the most valuable thing I can give you. A like helps this find other people who think they're the sensible one, exactly like I did an hour before I opened that laptop. And subscribe, because pulling apart machines like this one is the entire point of this channel. Right. Deep breath. Let me show you the total. Because this is the moment it stopped being a bit of fun. So I added it all up. Every zombie subscription. The router I'd been renting into eternity, the drip fees stacked inside my bills, the loyalty penalty on the insurance and the broadband, the gym membership I'd used, generously, twice. And all the little stuff, the pound here, the 4 quid there, that I'd never once bothered to count because individually, it was nothing. Now, I need to be honest with you, because everyone's number is different, and I don't want to sell you a scary headline. But the studies that add all of this up across a household, the forgotten subscriptions, the hidden fees, the loyalty penalties, the waste, they land on genuinely alarming figures. One estimated the average UK household loses something in the region of £4,500 a year to it. Mine wasn't that high. I'll be straight with you. I'm one person, not a family of 4. But mine was several £100s a year. Money I was, in the most literal sense, setting on fire. Every month. For films I didn't watch, boxes I didn't need to rent, fees I didn't know I could question, and the specific, itemized crime of having been a loyal customer. Several £100s. Me. The one who nodded along when other people talked about wasting money. And here is the part that I still can't quite get over. Not one penny of it was a scam. Nothing illegal happened to me. Every single charge was legal, disclosed somewhere in the fine print of something I'd clicked agree on, and functioning exactly as it was built to. There was no villain to report, no crime to solve. The whole, elegant, expensive machine ran on one single assumption about me, the same assumption it's making about you right now, that I would never, ever sit down and add it up. So the only question left was the one that actually matters. Now that I'd seen it, what do I do about it? And the genuinely good news, the reason I could close that laptop without wanting to throw it, is that almost all of it comes undone in a single evening. So here's exactly what I did, and you can do all of it tonight from your sofa. First, the subscriptions. I went through every recurring payment, one at a time, and asked each one a single, ruthless question. Have I actually used you in the last month? If the answer was no, it was gone. No agonizing, no, but I might. You can always resubscribe, that's the whole point. They make it easy to come back. And most UK banking apps now list these for you in one place, and some let you block a company at the source, so a forgotten free trial can never quietly roll into a charge again. Second, the loyalty penalty. I picked up the phone to my insurer and my broadband provider, and I said the 7 words that turned the whole thing around. I'm thinking of leaving. What can you do? And like magic, a better deal appeared. The one they'd been quietly holding for new customers the entire time. Because the loyal price isn't a fixed fact. It's a punishment for not asking. So ask. Once a year, ask every company that has your money on a repeat. Third, the fees. I lined up what I was actually being charged against what I'd been advertised, and I challenged every gap. The router rental, the service fees. Some I got removed, some I couldn't, but I stopped paying a single one of them blind. But honestly, the biggest thing that changed wasn't any one cancellation. It was a habit. Now, once a month, I actually read my own bank statement, top to bottom. Because every trick in this entire investigation, the zombies, the disguised fees, the loyalty penalty, all of it, depended on exactly one thing: me not looking. Attention was the only weapon I ever needed. It cost nothing, and it is the one thing that not a single one of these machines can survive. So here's what I'm actually asking you to do, and I mean do it, not nod at it and forget. The second this video ends, open your banking app, go back 3 months, and find the one charge you'd completely forgotten you were paying. Because I promise you, the sensible one, the careful one, the one this couldn't possibly happen to, you've got at least one hiding in there. I was certain I didn't. I had several. And when you find it, and you will, tell me in the comments what it was and how long it had been quietly bleeding out of your account before you noticed. I'll go first, and I'm not proud of it. Mine was a cloud storage plan I'd been paying for, untouched, for over 2 years. That's the price of not looking. So, go and look. Let's see who finds the worst one. I'll see you in the next one.